Ultimate MK Podquest.
Corey and Neal, two of the greatest podcasters in the world, travel the podcast tournament circuit under their code name, Street Fight Pod. They have their own code of honor, discipline, gross drinks, commitment, and together they will triumph over the forces of boredom. Street Fight Pod.
Can I briefly start this episode with a discussion about pop, but it won't take very long?
Yes, you can. They expect it of us.
I've started drinking the zero sugar Pepsi
Smart.
when I'm at home, just to try to, make any effort whatsoever to take care of myself, which seems admirable, if nothing else.
Bare minimum, it's the American way.
Bare minimum, it's the North American way. It applies cross continent. And then the sugar full drinks that I had, if it ever came up recently, was Coke instead of Pepsi.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been a Pepsi person.
Yeah.
But
which is weird.
Having a full sugar Pepsi after drinking nothing but the zero sugar Pepsi made Pepsi taste kind of like shit.
Yeah, it does. There's so much. So we don't need to get into this too deep, but the reason that the Pepsi challenge worked is because with like one or two sips, they put so much extra sugar and sweetener and shit in Pepsi. It tastes good it tastes better if you have like a sip, but if you have like a can, it's way too fucking much, dude. So like,
and I will say I'm having a can of it right now that's full sugar because, sometimes you just go to the store and got to do that.
Yeah.
But the return to the uncut Pepsi was brutal.
Yeah. That's what happens, dude. Like, I made the full switch to zero sugar or diet or whatever years ago, and so when the opportunity arises that I don't have that option, or say they give me the wrong drink or something, I can taste the fucking difference, and I don't like it. I'm currently sipping on a zero sugar Dr. Pepper.
Okay, did they put more pepper in it to balance it out?
Ask me what it tastes like.
What does it taste like?
Fucking Dr. Pepper, dude.
Wow.
Didn't see that coming, did you?
No, I didn't. It would have been funny if you said it tasted like Fiji water or something, some other drink.
Medical intern pepper is what it's actually called.
Careful, because I didn't know I was like, what could this possibly mean? Where are we going with this? And we stuck the landing. Speaking of where are we going with this, I feel betrayed by the title of this episode. Please tell me what's happening.
Is that my cue to just jump right into it? I gotta prepare. Hold on.
I think so. I'll give you a sec to prepare, but I just want to make it abundantly clear that myself, among others, are looking at this and saying, that says Street Fighter on my Mortal Kombat podcast, and there's a bunch of steam shooting out of my ears, and it sounds like a kettle's going off in here.
Someone out there's like, what the hell?
The skin is melting off of my face like whichever Indiana Jones movie that is.
Our Podquest boys decided to watch something better than Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm. What's going on? Because this is a better show.
It is better. This episode maybe isn't, but I think the baseline quality is clearly higher.
I think even based on this episode alone, you can make the argument that this one episode is better than the 8 episodes of Defenders of the Realm we've watched so far.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what this ends up looking like, considering the budgets for these shows are clearly very different.
Yeah.
But yeah, what are we doing? What happened? Why are we here?
Oh, man. Corey, it is time.
Who is the Warrior King?
All right. We're facing something epic here, a crossover, the likes of which has never been seen before, man. This happened before the Marvel Cinematic Universe, before the legendary Monsterverse, sometime after Steve Urkel from Family Matters showed up on Full House and Step by Step, but probably before Michelle Tanner from Full House went to hang in with Mr. Cooper for some reason. We had a crossover.
Okay.
One magic orb, one warrior king with clumsy butterfingers, traveling to 3 video game inspired cartoons, 1 comic book adaptation cartoon, chasing that pesky orb and teaming up with the Street Fighter crew, the Savage Dragon, the Defenders of the Realm, and the Wing Commander Academy cadets.
Gang.
Yeah, the Wing Commander gang.
Commander Comrades.
To find his orb and save his homeworld.
I just want to make abundantly clear to everybody really quick that when we say Warrior King, that's not like a cute offhand for like barbarian-looking camp whose real name is like Ragnar.
No.
Motherfucker's name is the Warrior King, and his like wizard-in-chief calls him that because it's his fucking name.
His full name is Andrew Warrior King.
That one's for all the hardcore Andrew WK fans in the chat. I don't know how many of those exist.
And Warrior King's here, and he's here to party. This is part 1, episode 1 of a 4-part crossover between 4 different cartoon series. Street Fighter Season 2, Episode 9, The Warrior King. And we're covering this because it has a tangential relationship to Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm, and I insist on being a completionist on this podcast. Corey, I got questions for you.
Okay.
You a big Street Fighter guy? You fuck around with some Street Fighter?
So
You mean Guile?
do you love I know Guile's not a cop per se.
They're all basic. In this show, they're all cops.
He's got big cop energy. Also, I think Ryu and Ken shouldn't be allowed to be cops in this show because they're not wearing shoes and therefore couldn't even go into most stores.
Everyone's
Never mind,
cops.
like, enforce the law.
All 4 of these shows this is all propaganda. This is all
Yeah,
shows about
this
cops.
is a what if we turned fighting games into cops.
100%.
So when I hear Street Fighter, I think of 2 things.
Yeah.
I think of the Street Fighter game that I've played the most, which is Street Fighter 4.
Tight.
And I think of that fucking sick-ass full parry
Oh,
that Daigo
from
did.
Evo the Daigo, yeah.
And that's one of the most incredible things I've ever seen in my life.
Moment 37, baby.
I've got an okay familiarity with Street Fighter outside of that. Like, I know the general cast of characters and get the gist of it. I've played a good amount of Street Fighter 2 because I bought one of the 800 versions of that for Super Nintendo at some point.
Sure.
But I'm not like a lore hound for that, really.
Right.
And it's not something that I go to all the time. There was a window just where like Xbox 360 was out and I had Street Fighter 4, so I played it. I was not very good at it.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, familiar enough, probably familiar in the way like most people probably are. Maybe a bit more than that, but like...
Have you seen the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, or as I like to refer to it, the Kylie Minogue movie?
I like to refer to it as the Raul Julia movie.
It's okay. That's fair.
But I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it?
But that is still what I like to call it. No, I've seen the... For me, it was Tuesday and all that, but I have not sat down to watch it.
Okay. Well, much like Defenders of the Realm...
I found out Chun Li had a last name today.
Zhang.
That's pretty interesting. Yeah, news to me.
I'm not sure if that's canon. I think it is. But yeah, so much like Defenders of the Realm, this cartoon series is based in the universe of the live action movie, the live action Street Fighter movie. Except they changed some things around. Like they put Zangief back on the Shadaloo side, and I think DJ they moved over to the Street Fighter side.
Also, actually, this will prove how much I remember about Street Fighter lore. Because I was looking at the intro to this cartoon.
Yeah.
And they're showing a bunch of dudes off.
Sure.
And it's like, Balrog's the punching guy. Got it. There's like the Bruce Lee stand-in.
Yeah.
I want to see if I can remember his name. Because if I do, then maybe I know more. Is it Li Fong?
No, it's close, though.
Who's that then?
Li Fong.
That's a fighting game character somewhere.
Pretty sure that's Tekken.
Whatever.
No, it's not.
I took a shot and I lost. Maybe I'm wire crossing 2 names together of 2 separate characters into one guy.
I mean, you're so close. It's Fei Long.
Oh, I just got the fucking syllables backwards.
Yeah, you are so close.
Okay, then I was essentially right. I think we got it. Judges.
We'll award you the points. Yeah. So I was for a long time a big Street Fighter fan. Big Street Fighter guy. Played the games, collect the games. I got pretty much all of them. Read the Udon comic book series. That was fantastic. Watched all the animes. Watched this cartoon series in full. Watched the live action movie. I stopped with Street Fighter when Street Fighter 4 came out. Right when you picked it up, it sounds like.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, because like Street Fighter fucking 3 Alpha Curse of the Wolfman or whatever the fuck those games are called. That was just a very confusing time to try to keep track of those video games, I feel like.
Sure, I'll break it down for you. You've got your Street Fighter original, which was not a very good game.
Yeah,
that-
the fucking Sega CD. It came out on a weird console. I don't know.
I don't think it ever had a home port until I could be wrong.
It was
I think
probably
they
on like Neo Geo or some dumb shit.
No, it wasn't on. First of all, not dumb shit. Second of all, it was not on Neo Geo. SNK was a big competitor for Capcom. Thank you very much.
I know they had King of Fighters and shit. I just think that saying the name Neo Geo is funny.
It's fair. That it is
That's
objectively funny. No, man. So there was the Street Fighter 2 and all the updates to that, right? Your Turbo, your Super, your new challengers, etc. Your Champion Edition.
I had that for the record.
Then there was Street Fighter 3, which it was Street Fighter 3 the new generation, Street Fighter 3 Second
Is
Impact,
that the one with?
and then Street Fighter 3 Third Strike.
There's a game called Street Fighter 3 Second Impact.
Yeah, that was the update to Street Fighter 3.
That's awesome.
And then there's Third
Street Fighter
Strike.
3 2.
Then there's Third Strike, which is where Moment 37 came from, the Daigo parry.
There we go.
Then there was the Alpha series, and what the Alpha series was essentially sort of a revision of Street Fighter 1. So they brought like certain characters back from Street Fighter 1 into continuity, added in the Final Fight characters. It was like a prequel series to Street Fighter 2, upgraded and all that kind of shit. I'm a big Alpha fan. Like, I like Third Strike. I like Street Fighter 3. I'm notoriously bad at Street Fighter 2. All versions, doesn't matter. Don't want to pat myself on the back too hard here, but I'm a pretty good Alpha 2 Gold player. Not like
Not too good.
competition level. No, not like competition level, but I played the shit out of Alpha 2 on my Saturn, so like
Is
that's
that
probably
the one
the
with
one.
the weird like detective dressed man?
No, that's 3.
Okay.
And I could not pull
See,
his name for $1 million right now.
His name's Q or
Yeah.
something.
Yes. It's some letter. Is it Q? Is he Q? Holy shit.
The best part about Street Fighter is that the villains always have really, really dumb names. Case in point, the thing that I want to point out is that the big gooey man in Street Fighter 4 is named Seth.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
Seth.
Good old fucking
The
Seth.
all-powerful like demon man is just named Seth.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with that dude who was a barrel of oil, whatever the fuck that man was.
Oil man.
Anyway, this is just me riffing on like half-remembered Street Fighter lore.
Sure, which is what most of this podcast is going to be. Because like I said, I checked out at Street Fighter 4, and you know what fucking burned me is that I like pre-ordered. I was so psyched for Street Fighter 4. I pre-ordered that shit, the collector's edition, to get that animated movie with it, the little figurine of what's her face, the new character, Crimson Viper.
Oh, she was new to that game? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was like,
Also,
all
the
in.
oil man's name is Hakan. I'd like to just check that box.
There you go. I was like all in. I was psyched, and I got the game, and I'm playing it, and there's DLC costumes, and I'm a sucker for that kind of shit. And then like a year later, less than a year later, Super Street Fighter coming out, and none of your DLC is going to carry over, and you got to buy this thing at retail again. And I was like, okay, fuck you, I'm done. Like that was it, and that was it. I was done.
That was
I was
shit they
done.
got away with in the early 90s that you can't just do now.
Fuck, and then they like put out Ultra Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition. They put out a bunch of fucking versions of Street Fighter 4, and I think at a certain point you could get the upgrades as DLC, but it was still expensive as shit. And I was just like, I'm not on board with this model. Fuck this. I'm over it.
The fucked up thing is that they did a Street Fighter cross Tekken and then teased
yeah.
Tekken cross Street Fighter, and then that game just never came out.
Yeah, Namco never got their shit together and got that put out. That was all on Namco. Capcom did their part, and I wasn't a big fan of it. Honestly,
Marvel
I played that
versus
one too.
Capcom versus Street Fighter versus Tekken versus Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe.
Versus Tatsunoko.
Somebody get on it. Yeah.
Anyway, big Street Fighter, like classic Street Fighter fan. I haven't played 5 at all. Like I said, I just checked out. Filled all that space in my brain with Mortal Kombat nonsense for some reason. But here we are. We've come full circle. This is technically a crossover, although spoiler alert to everybody listening, the main characters are never going to fucking meet. We just got the Warrior King traveling universe to universe, and that's just how this is going to play out.
The Warrior King, aka the blandest man.
We should just get right into this, man.
Yeah.
What are your overall impressions of the show before we jump into the nitty gritty?
Oh, fuck. I don't know. I don't think this episode is a fair representation of it. There's hardly any characters in it.
Sure.
honest to God, what it reminded me of. Okay, so there was an aspect of it that I want to just say that I'm not saying this is a joke. Reminded me of Totally Spies.
Okay.
Which is the fact that they just keep going and reporting to this guy who sits behind a desk.
Sure.
And tells him to do stuff and doesn't really do anything, which just reminded me of the old man from Whoop. And I know that's like a fucking Charlie's Angels riff anyway, but it made me think of Totally Spies. Never a bad time to talk about Totally Spies.
No,
that's
never.
some good old-fashioned raw childhood stuff for me right there.
Somebody in something we watched did a voice in Totally Spies, and I don't remember.
Yeah, if somebody else wants to go back and listen to all of our episodes and rate them 5 stars to find out who that was,
Yeah,
feel
send
free
us a
to do
voice
that.
message. Until then, we're going to assume it was Silk Manning.
Yeah, that's a reasonable assumption, I think. I don't think this episode is a good representation of what this show is. However, I also feel like I know exactly what this show is after seeing this.
It's fucking G.I. Joe.
Which is that it's structured exactly like Defenders of the Realm is structured too, though.
Oh, yeah?
Like, all of these shows are structured the same, which is, this one is slightly different because I would say that the internal conflict for the group presented is swapped with the Warrior King plot.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have bad guys figured out a bad thing plot, and we have to stop that.
Yep.
Which is the same as every fucking Defenders of the Realm is just portal opened with bad guy, also internal conflict within the group. Both will be solved in the next 20 minutes.
Was there an internal conflict within the group in this one?
No, I'm saying that the reason that isn't here is because they swapped that for the Warrior King shit.
Gotcha. Okay. I understand.
Which is why it's not like a perfect representation, but that's absolutely my guess as to what this show is like.
Yeah. See, I think actually there was an internal group conflict, and it was bureaucratic red tape.
What I was about to say, that was what's fascinating about this, if it carries through other episodes of the Street Fighter cartoon, is how weirdly political it is.
Yeah.
Like, it's about countries and borders and treaties and shit.
Yeah.
And a magical orb that makes crops grow.
Yeah.
And shoots
Yes.
lasers.
A magical orb that makes crops grow in this episode and does something different in the next episode. So even that's not consistent.
I think this orb can just do anything.
Yeah.
Because, like, Sagat uses it to, like, shoot lasers and also wrap Chun Li in, like, a vine prison.
Yeah.
And Bison uses it to control the weather. Also, he describes covering New York City in vines as controlling the weather.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Which is not what that is.
but we've seen it. It can make the land fertile.
I will say, my takeaway is that it seems like if you gave Defenders of the Realm more of a budget and wanted it to be all about Stryker, this is probably what you would get.
Probably. So the animation in this is a season 2 episode, and I know that they stepped the animation quality up for season 2 versus season 1 in Street Fighter, but the animation quality in this looks pretty fucking good for the time, honestly. Like, I know you were like a little baby boy, so I don't think you were watching too many action cartoons when you were
I may not have even been alive when this show was on.
2 or 3 or however old
What
you were.
year was this show on?
I believe it was 96, same year as Defenders of the Realm, because it was a crossover.
So I was not alive.
Okay. But this was this was pretty fucking good looking for a TV series at that time.
It doesn't look terrible
No.
by any stretch.
and
I'm
that's-
looking at it right now. The eyes are fucked up. I don't like the eyes.
Yeah. And the faces are lumpy, and Bison's got like a major dump truck for a chin.
All the text is in Arial, which is a weird choice.
95 to 97 this show aired.
Yeah, so this show, my birth ended this show.
Well,
This town wasn't big enough for the two of us.
thank you. I guess.
Yeah, just doing
Yeah.
the Lord's work.
Because this show very much is just a G.I. Joe clone.
But it's got fantasy shit in it at least.
They took G.I. Joes and subbed them in with Street Fighter characters, and they took Cobra and subbed it in with Bison and Shadaloo, and made a show.
We've got our secret group of covert agents with the code name Street Fighter.
Traveling the world in the underground fighting tournaments
Whatever the
to
fuck.
recruit
Yeah,
people.
it's awesome. It's such a dumb idea.
I don't think Guile in the live action movie was like a Street Fighter, He was like just like a allied nations colonel or whatever.
Yeah. Also, is that what AN stands for? Because they never say it out loud.
I'm gonna say 75% sure that that's what it is. It's the stand-in
Let's
for the
go with
United
that.
Nations. If I'm wrong about that, tweet at Corey.
That's fine.
Dave, let us know. You said you were here for all the Street Fighter lore, but
Yeah.
Let's jump into it. You want to go over to the Corey corner?
Yeah, let's do it. Hop in this weird portal.
Welcome.
Welcome to the Corey Corner. So I'm looking at the intro to this episode again as we live and breathe. And so this episode makes the bold decision to start with an unrelated group of characters in an unknown place with some shit that people would have never ever seen before.
Yeah.
Which is like there's a Saturn in the sky.
Yeah.
A
Sega Saturn.
There's a Sega Saturn in the sky, and
With
there's
a copy of Street Fighter Alpha 2 in it, probably.
Yeah, and there's this castle, and there's like evil wizard men on dragons with swords and scepters and axes and shit, shooting lasers, magical laser balls, and the Warrior King is inside with his like wizard man, and they're like, "Oh man, we got this really powerful orb, and they're trying to take it. You need to get into this like interdimensional portal and hide away with the orb, and then we'll get you back later when it's safer," because as we later discover, the orb is the thing that means the barren lands in which the Warrior King lives can be like green and bring food and support life.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really explain, like, because the wizard man makes the first portal, and by the end of this episode, we know that he portals his way into whatever cartoon is next. Savage Dragon, I think.
Yeah, he poured Chicago. The next portal takes him to Chicago.
They don't set up how the orb knows when to make a new portal, or if the wizard is doing it, or whatever.
Yeah.
Not that it matters, but I just wanted to make clear that the show doesn't really care, and that's fine. So we meet our generic barbarian king, who speaks in old-timey fantasy language, and they get attacked.
Looks a lot like He-Man.
Yeah, definite He-Man vibes. And so they escape. By they, I mean the Warrior King and the orb. And separately, though, it should be said. And the orb lands in camphor.
Yeah.
On the ground, and instantly starts like sprouting lush ground. We see people like tilling shit land that just looks like desert, and they're like, "Whoa, we gotta bring this to the prince. He's gonna think this is crazy. It's magic." And then M. Bison is with his boys, by which I mean Sagat and Zangief.
Yeah.
And they're like, "We're gonna go get that fucking orb. I'm gonna be so powerful with this mystical orb." Sagat, the night wolf of this show, seemingly,
Yeah,
stuck sitting at a computer.
Let's be clear. He's sitting at the computer in boxer shorts.
Oh, in full Sagat gear.
With tape on his fists, ready for like a Muay Thai fight.
Do you think that because Sagat is here that we're gonna get another Full House crossover?
Fuck you.
Thank you. So the long and short of it is,
but it's gonna be crude Bob Saget. It's not gonna be Danny Tanner. It's gonna be Bob Saget talking about having sex with corpses or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, it's gonna be
about.
like cum loving Bob Saget. I'm sorry.
No. We all know it's gonna be Entourage Bob Saget.
Sorry about that thing I just said.
No, you're good.
And so anyway, wow, my voice just rejected that. Keep that voice crack in. So anyway, this prince gets bullied by M. Bison into giving like a press conference where they give control of the orb to M. Bison and his Shadaloo boys.
Yeah. Shadaloo.
Chun Li is there in her capacity as a journalist.
Yep.
Which I didn't know was her job. I thought she was a cop.
That's from the live action movie. She was a news reporter. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's a news reporter and she's reporting on this press conference, but she's also there to just tell Bison to go fuck himself. which frankly I think more journalists should be willing to do.
Honestly,
I think that's funny, because she, as we learn, Bison killed her dad, and she sees the writing on the wall. Like, this is clearly fucked. And they need to try to figure out how to get the orb away from Bison because he's trying to take over the world. Don't ask me why he's going from this seemingly poor country and blackmailing them and then just escalating it to the entire world, or how he thinks him by himself with an orb will sort of make this work. I don't really know. But Chun Li is there by herself and is instructed by Guile and other
Escher.
man, Escher, to stick around, feel out the situation. And anyway, they discover that Bison's trying to do bad shit, and the Warrior King shows him. He's like, hey, I want my fucking orb. And they don't get it, so they fight. And they get trapped in Kempfer. But Chun-Li and the Warrior King sort of strike a bit of a bond because he's this gallant, chivalrous man who thinks that she's hot, but also capable, but he really does lean into the beautiful thing. And she's sort of charmed by his old-timey ways and also just really wants to fucking kill M. Bison. So the other Street Fighters don't really do fucking anything this episode. No. They just say, oh, we should probably try to help Chun-Li, but she's probably got it under control. And she does. And by the end of the episode, there's a confrontation, and then the orb leaves in a portal, and the Warrior King leaves, and that's it.
That's it. All right. Let's hop over to the Neal Nook real quick. This will be a quick one. Hadouken.
Hang on, let me think of another Street Fighter move name. I was trying to think of not the first one that came to mind because it was from the same character, but that might be all I've got.
Say Sonic Boom.
Sure, you can.
That's I mean, we'll see.
I don't want to say Sonic Boom because I'm not a cop.
Okay. Say nope, they're all cops in this, aren't they?
Chi Energy or whatever the fuck Chun Li says she has.
Kikoken. She's the one who's actually a cop. She's an Interpol cop.
She does say that at one point that the orb blocks like chi energy.
Yes, she does. All right, chi energy.
What's her thing that she said? Because I'm going to say a real version of it. Say it again.
Say spinning bird kick.
No, what's the other one? I liked the other one.
Kikoken.
Kikoken? See, that one's fun. Kikoken. There you go. I said it like Hadouken.
Welcome to the Neal Nook.
It's Gucci.
All right, so this episode of Street Fighter, Season 2, Episode 9, The Warrior King, was written by Kat Lickel.
Was this episode 9 for every show?
No, it's episode
I
8.
Can't believe that's a fucking coincidence.
Season 1, Episode 8 for Savage Dragon, and I don't remember for Wing Commander. I think it's a late Wing Commander episode. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off instantly, but that would have been fucking amazing.
I got the list here. Hold on. We can figure it out. Because it was Season 2, Episode 9 for Street Fighter. So it was actually like Episode 21 or some shit.
Sure.
And then, Episode 21. And then Episode 21 of Savage Dragon, Episode 9 of Defenders of the Realm, and Episode 8 of Wing Commander Academy. That's what it is.
Got it.
So this episode was written by Kat Lickel, Likkel, with the story by Will. You speak French, right?
Not well, but I can try to help.
Take a run at this. I don't want another Renee Tennyson tension moment. Meugnoit.
I'd like to preface this before we get there that I may not get this right because while I do sort of kind of speak French, it's not well. It could be
Munoit?
Mougnois or Mougno. It could be either of those.
Okay.
I would probably say Mougnois. That may not be right, but that's what my gut tells me to say. Mougnois.
Right. Will Mougnois right into the show. Fuck it. Come on the show. We'll talk about Mortal Kombat. And of course, the show is based on the concept of Street Fighter 2, created by Takashi Nishiyama. Our voice cast, I'm not going to go in deep on all these people. We've got Michael Donovan as Guile and Zangief, Tong Lung as Ryu, Scott McNeil as Ken Masters, Richard Newman as M. Bison, Donna Yamamoto as Chun Li, Robert O. Smith as Sagat, John Payne as everyone's favorite Street Fighter character, Escher, and Lieutenant Worf himself, Michael Dorn, as the Warrior King. Yes, he'll be the Warrior King in all the episodes.
Oh, I didn't
Hell
notice
yeah.
that. I didn't clock that that's who that was.
Yeah, man, that fucking golden voice. That's it for the Neal Nook. I'm not going to go in deep. You all know who Lieutenant Worf
Everybody
is.
knows who that is.
He's from Star Trek. He's from all the Star Trek stuff.
Heard of it.
He's the Klingon dude who fucks shit up. I assume. I don't watch Star Trek.
It's tough to try to appraise this show only seeing this episode because
Sure.
it feels very unfair to base a lot of like assessment on this.
Sure.
Because it's so fucking weird.
Yeah, this is maybe an odd one. I think it's been yes, I own the entire series on DVD. It's been a minute since I've really watched it. I remember an instance from one episode where there was like a skateboarding kid who had to like run from Shadaloo tanks and snuck into their base or something. I don't really remember. It's a G.I. Joe clone. I don't think there's much continuity episode to episode. Bison's never
Right.
going to die, so every episode Chun Li's going to want to kill him for killing her father. Ken and Ryu are going to be fucking goofballs. They were like con artists in the live action movie, so they've still got like con artist traits in this where they're just sort of like in it for themselves or whatever, right? And then Bison's just always going to be coming up with some scheme to take over the world through diplomacy, apparently.
Yeah, like this episode ends with him trying to get a bunch of people to sign treaties.
Yeah, to say he controls the world.
But there's no, how the fuck does what the fuck are you what? How does that work?
I don't know, dude. But
I don't even think that's how treaties work.
That was his threat, though. But this is, again, like Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm, is a dumb cartoon for babies. It just looks a little better.
Yeah.
There's even jets with 3 seats in them. Do you think they had to like pop that?
Oh,
third
that was
seat
so
out?
funny. It was so funny. It's so funny too because if you remember that shot, send your mind back.
Sure.
It goes, Guile pops out, and then the camera pans all the way to the back of the jet, and Ken pops out, and Ryu is sitting in the middle, but
Yeah.
it pans all the way back to where Guile was, so he's like barely on screen when he ejects from the jet.
It was, I don't know. It looked good though. It was kinetic and fun and well animated for the most part.
I
Can't
will
say the
say-
same for Defenders of the Realm.
I'd like to make a quick statement.
Yeah.
So Bison takes over the press conference with the Prince Chael, I think his name is.
I didn't even try. I couldn't turn subtitles on my DVD, so I was
It
like,
sounds
I'm
sort
just
of
going
like
to avoid
Chael.
this one.
Like Chael is kind of what I was picking up.
Prince Kale, sure.
Anyway, so Bison takes over the press conference. And he's like, "Oh, we've struck a deal, and now what is it? Shadowlaw,
Shadaloo.
Shadowloo.
I believe Shadow Law in the Street Fighter 2 animated movie, which fucking rules.
He basically says in very polite terms, Shadowloo has taken over Kempfer, and it's like a protectorate. And we're just gonna figure this one out. And like we have this cool orb, and if people want to use the orb, just come get at us. And
Give us money.
Chun Li is like, "Yo, fuck you."
Yeah.
And she's like at work, like this is like on camera. And she's like, "Fuck you, you dumb piece of shit. I don't trust you for shit." And Bison's like, "Oh, where has your much vaunted journalistic objectivity gone?" And he's trying to be all fucking sly and coy, and it's like, "Hey, man, you're like a super terrorist."
Yeah, there's like 21 episodes before this of him trying to take over the world or whatever.
Never mind that. I said emotional objectivity. Journalistic objectivity isn't really a thing. Beyond that, context would tell me that it would be an objective statement to say that you're a bad dude and to treat you as such. Furthermore, I think she is subjectively justified, even as a journalist, to say, "Hey, this is a bad guy with a bad thing. Maybe we should do something about it."
Yeah, but even her fucking boss over at the
Fucking
AN,
Street Fighter headquarters.
Street Fighter HQ, the Street Fighter cave or whatever. When he's instructing her to like go to that banquet, he's like, "Now don't do anything until Bison breaks a law, because that's what separates us from the bad guys, is that we follow the rules," which, as we know in 2021, just doesn't fucking work. That doesn't work.
That logic is the same thing that let's get political for a second. That's like time and again what you see Democrats do, and that it doesn't work.
Yeah, like,
we're not gonna play by their weird out there rules. We're gonna be by the book, and then you lose a bunch of elections and a bunch of shit goes real bad.
You dig yourself into a deep fucking hole that's gonna take generations to climb out of. Good job, Escher.
As we remember in the previous administration, a bunch of bad guys touched a big weird orb. So maybe this was more prescient than we had considered it being.
All right, real quick, before we dive in deeper in this. That's the orb.
It's orb.
That is... Jesus Christ. God damn it.
I wish I remembered the context for the glowing orb.
Speaking of orbs, here's a prediction. Beginning of the episode, he gets shot, and he drops the orb, and the orb flies through a portal, and he has to go after it. End of this episode, he gets shot, orb flies out of his hands.
Oh, that's going to keep happening. That's going to keep happening.
Into a portal, and he has to go after it. Twice in this episode it's happened. I guarantee that's going to happen every single episode.
Every episode is going to start and end with that.
Except the last one, presumably, will hopefully... he'll just get a hold of it and be able to go home. I have not watched the Wing Commander episode, but fingers crossed. Dude gets his shit together. Get some, like, grippy, like, football player gloves, you know?
That would be smart.
Maybe one of the times he has possession of the orb, he manages to, like, put some Velcro all over it and put some Velcro all over his hands so he can catch it.
I think he should cover the orb in... tiny metal shavings and get magnet gloves.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Sounds pretty sick.
Maybe he just like takes some sandpaper to it so he can get like a good grip on it. But then when he gets back home with it, like it still makes everything grow, but it all just grows like sharp and
if he carved
jagged.
it into a pyramid, it wouldn't roll away.
That would solve so many fucking problems. All right, let's talk about this now, right? This orb is the thing that keeps his world alive.
It is.
Sounds a lot like the essence of Edenia to me, which sounds a lot like a
fuck you, Neal.
Classic Mortal Kombat Deception era Kamidogu. You know what I'm saying? I think the Warrior King, I think his realm exists in the Mortal Kombat universe. I mean, clearly he's going to go to it, right? I think in the Threshold Entertainment Mortal Kombat universe, these are all adjacent realms to Earthrealm, Earth Prime. It makes too much sense. That opening scene with those dudes flying dragons into his fortress looked way more Mortal Kombat than any of the shit we've seen in Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm.
Big theory, boys. Big theory, boys. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Look, we're here to make these leaps of logic. That's our job.
So, by extension, we can now claim that not only is the live-action Street Fighter movie that inspired this cartoon a part of the Mortal Kombat Threshold Entertainment universe, but so is the live-action Wing Commander movie starring Freddie Prinze Jr., I think, and probably just the Savage Dragon cartoon, because I don't think that follows the comic book storyline.
Yeah, also, Savage Dragon is like the blandest, most boring fucking name for a thing. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it looks cool. Dude, I watched that episode. That show looks fucking like almost Gargoyles good.
Oh, that's surprising.
Almost.
Crucial distinction.
Crucial distinction. I don't want you throwing that back in my face when you watch it. It is almost Gargoyles good. It looks better than this show.
Yeah, to get back on the train here a little bit.
Sure.
I don't have a lot to say about this episode in terms of like how it progresses, just because like there's like 4 characters and one thing happens but multiple times, which is we're gonna fight over this orb. Like you said, it definitely looks better. M. Bison does have a lumpy ass face.
Yeah, he does.
But like, you know, you've got Russian caricature Zangief and computer Sagat.
Yeah, Zagat is a character from the Mortal Kombat Malibu comic book series, and it's spelled in a problematic way.
Oh boy. You have Chun Li, who is, you know, like the kick-ass, take names, take care of myself character. You've got Generic Man, and then you've got twin generic men in Guile, and then Ryu and Ken.
Ryu and Ken. Guile and Escher is like lame Guile.
Can I make a connection to Conquest while we're just sitting here fucking talking?
Hell yeah, you can.
So,
That's what we're here for.
So, do you remember at the end of Mortal Kombat Conquest where they need to try to get back into... God, can I remember the name of that place? Give me 1 second to see if I can. What was that place called? Fuck.
I know it.
Tell me.
Shaka.
Shit. Yeah. So they have to try to get back into Shaka, and they show up, and there's just a big wall in the way. They have to try to carve their way through with a hole, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Bison, right?
Yeah.
Puts a big wall up around Camphor, right?
Yeah, he does.
And then the boys show up, and they're like, "Oh, I know what we can do. We can try to carve through it with a big hole."
They needed Omegus, didn't they? They
needed
Omegus.
A lot of shows could benefit from just a quick Omegus cameo.
I would argue most shows could benefit from a quick Omegus cameo.
Hello, welcome to Paw Patrol.
She's on Paw Patrol, still wearing just that net.
Live action.
Jesus Christ. Someone's drawn it. Someone's drawn that artwork.
Oh, that sucks.
Let's dive into this just a little. We're not going to go super in depth, but I'm sure some people out there listening to this do not have access to watch this cartoon series. So I want to set the scene a little bit. Warrior King, picture, generic barbarian, like Corey said, looks like that. Looks like He-Man with a real shirt on. He's got a crown with some horns on it. He's got a staff he fights with. It's pretty tight. Honestly, that staff's going to be a major plot point in the next episode, so I want to make sure we talk about it here. He's got a magical connection to this orb that the old man wizard did before the orb got knocked through the portal. So I have a theory that the reason why when he gets the orb at the end of this episode, a portal shows up is because once he's tied to the orb, a portal opens, right? Okay. I have a feeling like that's probably the trigger for it. Like they never say that.
It's sensing his vibes, and he's like, shit seems bad. Time to portal us away.
Yes, but that's a theory. We'll track that as we go through. I also want to track the look.
Theory.
I also want to track the look of the Warrior King episode to episode because he's the only character who's going to be consistently in each one, so we can really compare the animation styles just by looking at him alone. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, 100%. That's the thing I'm most excited about, honestly.
So we're going to call this the baseline, right? So everything else is going to be, this is normal Warrior King, so we got to check everything else in relation to this up or down. Anyway, we'll get to that. All right, but I want to hit a few of these plot points. So you've already covered, like, through the stupid press conference where Bison is taking control of Camphor and the orb, and he's making Camphor hold a banquet for him, right?
Yeah.
Which is when, like, shit's really going to go bad, and it's going to go bad immediately. I got a couple notes on this. The first thing is, Sagat's really been pushing Bison to just take this fucking orb and take over the world with it. It's got all kinds of power. Like, you used to be cool, man. You used to do shit to take over the whole world. Why are you trying to play by these rules, right? And Zangief is just like, I'm hungry and I want to fight something.
Yeah, that's true.
So we cut to the banquet, and Zangief is there, and he's trying to eat a pineapple, and it doesn't work out, and then he just kind of crushes it. And I think that this is a larger statement about the swinger community and how Zangief is not in support of it.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So you think he's like really he's big on fighting, but he's very conservative in his like relationship values?
As a Russian stereotype, I believe he's probably pretty conservative in his relationship values, and we all know that the pineapple is the symbol of open relationships, right?
What? Hold on, is that real?
Yeah, you never heard that?
No.
Yeah, I don't know that it's true, but allegedly, you decorate if couples decorate something publicly with a pineapple, it signifies that they are open to swinging.
I assumed that the signal was that you had your kitchen wallpaper was just a bunch of pictures of bowls filled with keys.
If your kitchen wallpaper is just printed with like just stick figure gangbangs, you really No, supposedly the pineapple is a anyway.
I can't believe that's a thing. I genuinely didn't know that.
Well, now you do. I got to teach you something this time. I don't know how true it is. Anyway, at this banquet, Chun Li shows up, right? Because she's talked to Guile, she's talked to Escher, and he's like, go check out the conference, keep an eye on Bison, don't fuck with him because he didn't break any laws yet, technically. He's got this orb of incredible power that he's used to like restore. And this is important. He's used this to like restore the environment to this like desolate and forgotten country, right? Their land is fertile now. They can grow things.
Yeah, it's pretty huge.
We just got to keep that in mind for later. And yet, like, yes, he's using this power now to like try to force other countries to pay him for the same thing, which is bullshit, because if another country like Camphor needs this to like restore their resources, they're not going to be able to afford to pay him for it. And you can't trust the guy anyway. He's been fucking the world up for like 20 episodes and one movie where he died at the end, but somehow came back.
I mean, he's clearly a Superman.
So Chun Li comes to the thing, and it's very important to note that she's not wearing her Chun Li outfit. She's wearing like a dress.
Yeah, I'd like to make a statement just now, quick, on that. She complains later that it's hard to fight in a prom dress.
Yeah.
Her like usual the Chun Li thing that she's always in doesn't look significantly different from that dress.
So I have two theories on this.
Oh, is this the big theory, boys? We're doing it about fashion choices this time.
We are now.
Big theory, boys. Big theory, boys.
So there's that scene where when she's in the water and Zangief is charging her, she tries to kick, and it looks like her dress is wrapped around her leg, so she can't kick, right? So the dress is longer than what she normally wears, and I think that's what the comment was.
Because it's still got like the drape part in the front and the back, and I'm like, these look aesthetically similar to me. I don't see the problem.
Yeah.
But I also don't do a lot of kicking.
Right, but this goes down to her ankles, and in the water, I think got wrapped around her leg.
As did Vines.
The other thing to consider is that she's probably just doesn't want to kick in that dress because her regular uniform at least has pants.
Oh, yeah. I guess you're right.
It's probably the real reason.
Yikes.
Of course, I guess if you're in a life or death situation, you don't really fucking care, but she had that shit under control. She didn't need it. She still kicked Zangief for like right in the nuts. So she handled her business. But anyway, big theory, boys, about underwear.
I didn't think that's what that was gonna end up being about. I feel a way about that. That was a choice.
So anyway, but at this party, like Chun Li does confront Bison, and then like Bison's like, well, let me show you what this fucking orb can really do. And then Zangief grabs Chun Li, and he gives her what he calls a big Russian hug, right?
Bear hug.
And then Bison's like shooting shit at her. And then the Warrior King shows up, and then Bison starts shooting shit at the Warrior King. The Warrior King's like, hey, that's my fucking orb, give it back. But then like the platform, the balcony that they're all on collapses.
Inexplicably.
And like Chun Li, Zangief, and Sagat, who showed up, like all fall into the water. Bison doesn't fall because he can fly, but he does drop the orb. And there's just like this scene where everyone is like in the water fighting over the orb.
Feels weird that this world doesn't make a bigger deal about the fact that M. Bison can fucking fly.
Right? Well, he's got psycho power.
Right. Not everybody has that.
Sure, it's his proprietary technology. But, I mean, they're aware of it. They saw the movie. Yeah, there's just like this, I don't know, this comedic sort of like rumble in the water where Sagat like finds the orb but also grabs a fish, and then he's using the orb to like tie up Chun Li in vines and create these like rock, kind of like what Taja was trapped in when she went into the cobalt mines early on in Conquest, that like stalactite cage, right? That Chun Li and the Warrior King have to kick out of, and the Warrior King's like taken by Chun Li. He's like, holy shit, you can kick and you're strong, and I'm in love with you already.
Yeah, Warrior King sure seems easy to please in that. Like, he's just like, wow, you can kick and you're hot. Sign me up. And it's like, relax.
At some point, like Chun Li like is able to like knock a tree over that almost flattens on Sagat, and I think they were falling because he had lifted them up with a bunch of rocks or something, and then they're able to make their escape. But while all this shit was going on, there was like a film crew at the ball that was filming Bison.
There was her newsman. That was her newsman.
It was her newsman?
I believe, yes.
E. Honda from the movie? I think it was somebody different.
This man is not E. Honda. This man looks like he's dressed like Rambo.
But because this is getting broadcast, Escher is like watching the coverage on TV, and he's like, now the whole world knows that Bison's up to some shit.
Motherfucker, we've been what are you talking about?
You and your Street Fighter team of Ken and Ryu are good to go to Camphor and shut this shit down. It's 8 hours away.
Okay, can we talk about this? Because then later, when they're like, oh, we ran out of time, we didn't get through this big wall, the treaties are there, they've already sent somebody. It's like, then you've got 8 fucking hours. to get through that wall. What are you talking about?
But not even just that, like the fact that like they knew Bison was up to some shenanigans and he's like, well, we're not going to send anybody until like you couldn't even move them close. Like, why don't you go someplace an hour away so that if shit goes bad, you can get there quick. You got a jet. Start flying now and just land nearby. Like, why now they're in like a crisis mode and they're 8 fucking hours away. And then, yeah, later on, nobody else seems to be 8 hours away. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all.
Warrior King and Chun Li run away, and they're talking, and this is when Andrew WK is like, without the orb, my world's going to perish. And Chun Li's like, I want to kill Bison because he killed my dad. And Warrior King's like, if I didn't have to find my big orb, I'd totally help you do that. And she's like, you're so chivalrous, but I don't need your help. And she kicks a tree down. I do think that this episode gives Chun Li a better story than any of the Defenders of the Realms episodes have given to any of their female characters.
The bar is so low, though, that the fact that Chun Li is allowed to just do shit at her own will is enough. Or the fact that people are like, hey, you seem capable. And she's like, you're right, I am. Now let me go kill the guy who killed my dad.
She's given agency. She's like active in the choices about her life and everything. You know?
Right.
Like, that's nice to see in a 90s cartoon.
If I'm going to go kill the guy who killed my dad, I want to be dressed in my murder outfit, please.
First, we got Guile and the boys flying in their 3-seater jet and getting taken down when they get close to the city by like a windstorm, right? And then they're running into the city, and then like just like this 20-foot wall shoots up around the entire city, and they're like, "Ah, fuck, we can't get in. I guess Chun-Li's on her own."
Yeah, they give up real fucking fast.
Cut to Chun-Li and the Warrior King at an airport where they're getting a suitcase off a plane and just fucking up Shadaloo guards like crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird shit going on.
Weird pace scene. Because what they did is they went to the plane that apparently Chun-Li flew in on so she could get her Street Fighter uniform. Because if she's going to die, she's going to die in her fucking military garb. And her military garb is her Street Fighter 2 costume. And the Warrior King's just like, I don't know, man, he's into her.
Horny.
Yeah, he's very transparently horny.
Yeah, they're going to fuck later. Guaranteed.
No.
And I will tell you the precise moment it happens. Because it happens after they're in the alley fucking up Shadaloo guards, and they push a dumpster to the side, and there's just a child behind the dumpster for some reason.
That classic scenario we've all been in, where you're being chased by dudes.
Typically in video games, when you like knock the dumpster or the trash can or the phone booth down, you find like a whole rotisserie chicken or an apple.
Or a child.
And you eat it and you get your health back. You don't often find children behind waste disposal devices in video games.
I've never been to their realm.
Maybe they were supposed to eat the child and they get their health back.
Who's to say? We'll never know for sure.
But then the Warrior King saves the child, and she's like, oh my God, you saved that kid. Hell yeah. And they're still fucking guards up while they have this conversation, which I kind of love. And he's like, well, that's what what am I going to do? I got to protect the innocent or whatever. And she's like, that's just like the Street Fighter motto.
I know.
Discipline, justice, commitment.
All of that translates to saving children, obviously. You want to have a fire?
Meanwhile, the allied nations have been held hostage by Bison, who's like, I control the weather. I've already taken the whole world hostage. You guys got to pay me ransom in the form of signing treaties saying I control the world. And he's used the orb to, make vines grow in New York, make snow fall on Mexico City, and fucking flood Tokyo.
Yes. So, I gotta say, I didn't love this montage of contemporary actual climate change.
Yeah.
And look, I know we're having a fun haha podcast, and I don't want to ruin anybody's day, but it's like, most of those examples were shit that has actually happened relatively recently in one way or another.
Tsunamis are like a big fucking deal in Japan.
The Olympics were being threatened by a typhoon, as we speak. It's definitely snowed in some place it's not supposed to snow. We all remember that time New York City got covered in vines.
Sure.
Of course.
Yeah. 28 days later.
Yeah.
Or 28 weeks later.
28 later.
Fucking Texas got frozen over. That's
basically... it was kind of upsetting to be like, oh, so the big threat here is he's just going to climate change everything.
And you got that picture of all those people touching that glowing orb.
I mean, they did do this, just not with an orb.
Yeah, but yeah, that was pretty fucked. So the whole Allied Nations is like, we're ready to surrender, and Escher's like, no, I got guys I got agents on the field, like in the streets, like they're gonna handle this, and the Allied Nations like, no, too many vines, dog. Like we're done, right? We're surrendering.
Captain Crunch came out and he said, "Oops, all vines." and then TikTok got deleted from the internet. Get it?
Yeah, I get it.
Short form video apps.
I get it. Yeah, because Vine shut down. And so yeah, but after all that shit with the AN happens, we cut to like Chun Li and the Warrior King, just like they built a fire in an alley, and they're just like getting all cozied up and talking about how much they love each other and stuff. And that's when Chun Li is like, "We have this moment at least, before you find your orb and go back home. Let's make it last as long as we can." And that, my friend, is the moment they fuck in that filthy alley.
It might have been just a pleasant camping style hangout. We don't have to make it too weird.
I don't think it's weird.
Okay. Well, there you go. Choose your own adventure. There is a timeline where this episode branches out from them not doing that and them doing that, and the endings are different.
Of the two of us, I guarantee I've seen more Barbarian movies than you have.
Probably, yeah.
How many Deathstalker movies have you seen?
Indirectly 3. Directly 0.
I have directly seen 4. I guarantee you that was the moment. So the next day, I guess the next morning, we see Guile, Ken, and Ryu have been Hadokening and Sonic booming this wall like all night long. And they're finally, quote unquote, through. And what they're through is like a tiny hole. Like it's cratered in, but like they've breached the hole like the size of a toonie. That was for you.
Yeah, thanks for that. I appreciate it.
And they're like, "We're in finally." And then Guile's like, "It's too late. The treaties are on their way. Everyone's surrendered, and the jets are here, right?" And Bison is like inside the city. He's like, "The jets are on their way with the treaties. We got to let the barrier down so they can get in." And that's the moment that Chun Li and the Warrior King, fresh off their night of passionate lovemaking, are ready to fucking strike. And they do. And they kick Bison's ass.
They're ready to third strike.
There you go. And Zangief is facing off with the Warrior King, and he's like, "I'm strongest man in the world. I train by wrestling bears." And Warrior King's like, "Psh, on my world, we wrestle dragons, motherfucker." And
on my world, we're all bears because it's only men.
And he fucks up Zangief. And
then fucks Zangief, sorry. Equal opportunity on this show.
Yeah, I think we can do that. I think if he were going to stick around longer, yeah. Anyway. But yeah, then shit happens, right? So there's these jet fighters flying in with these treaties on them. But the barrier's down, so they're able to get in. Chun-Li is fucking up Bison. She's spinning bird kicking him. He's psycho driving her, and all of this
I'm sorry, his move is called Psycho Drive?
Or Psycho Charge. All his moves have psycho in them. Because he's powered by psycho energy.
Because he's the fucking Joker.
Yeah. Yeah, his like Raiden Superman attack where he spins. God, pretty sure that's the Psycho Driver.
It's fine. It doesn't matter. We're almost done.
Yeah, Dave, tell me if I'm wrong.
Dave Thomas from Wendy's. Sorry, it sort of sounded like you were saying that, so I wanted to get that in there.
Good job. And in all of these shenanigans,
Dave Thomas from Wendy's is famous for the Psycho Burger. which is called that because they were the only ones with the fucking audacity to make it a square.
It's the Psycho Bacon Classic. Thank you. The Junior Psycho Cheeseburger, what have you.
Welcome to A&W, where we'll sell you the Psycho Burger family.
All right.
Chaos Control. Anyway, I don't know.
Okay. Well, that was a Sonic Adventure 2 reference.
I can say shit all day. I can just keep saying shit.
Just keep saying shit. That's mostly what this podcast is about these days.
And this show used to be about something, and then Defenders of the Realm happened, and there's nothing to say anymore.
Yeah, now we're talking about Street Fighter and Savage Dragon cartoons. Anyway, and all this fucking chaos and all this psycho chaos.
It's my
Warrior
favorite
King
Talking
gets
Heads song.
God damn it. Warrior King gets the orb, and then he gets like blasted by presumably a psycho beam. And the orb flies through a portal that opened. And then Bison is like, if I can't have the orb, no one will. And he shoots the Warrior King. And then Sonya like kicks Bison in the face. And then Sonya's like, just go. And he's like, I'll never forget the night of passionate lovemaking we had.
All right.
on
Now
my
you're just
world.
really, you want someone to follow up with this.
People on my world will tell stories of the champion or the woman who stood with the Warrior King. And I love you forever, and I'm sorry I have to go. And she's like, just fucking go.
Yeah, she's kind of over it.
He dives through the portal, and he's on his way to Savage Dragon World. But
AKA Chicago.
Chicago, yeah. But we got to wrap shit up here on Street Fighter Earth, right? Because all these jets that were flying in with the treaty have suddenly realized somehow that Bison doesn't have the orb anymore. So instead of landing with peace treaties, they just start firing missiles at the city.
Yeah, it becomes real war in much the same way that like the real climate change and the real political bureaucracy was weird. So was the fucking missiles.
Real missiles.
Yeah, I don't understand what this show is like, what its goals are.
I don't know. We're not going to figure it out from this episode because the AN just fucking level Camphor with bombs. This poor country that suddenly became fertile.
Seemingly, if they were trying to like farm unusable land, we can only assume.
Well, Bison straight up says that this poor country has been ignored by the rest of the world for so long, and he, with his orb, has done something to give them life back. And the Allied nations are like, well, fuck that. We're gonna level it. Because the episode ends, Ken, Ryu, and Guile finally catch up to Chun Li, and they're just standing in like the burnt wreckage of a city.
Sounds like some shit the U.S. would do.
Kind of does. And Bison and his boys ran off in all of the missile fire and got away somehow. I'm sure they'd be back next episode. But Ken's like, boys, Chun Li, I almost called her Sonya. You sure did a number on this place. You should get a boyfriend or something.
Yeah, I don't know why he says that. I don't know what the fuck he could possibly mean by that comment.
I don't know, man. But tearfully, she's like, I had one. I hope to meet him again someday. Or whatever. Talking about the Warrior King.
I think
her
Ken's
boyfriend.
Ken's just the horny guy. But I truly do not know what he means by that.
It doesn't mean anything. It was just bad writing. And that's it. That's the end of the fucking episode. Warrior King's on his way to Chicago, and we're not going to talk about the Street Fighter crew anymore. One final note, just so everyone can get the picture. All the Street Fighter people look like they do in the video game, with the exception of Ken, who has kind of orangey red hair like he had in the Street Fighter 2V animated series, but never in any of the video games. That's it. We're done.
Also, they call Blanca in the intro like an animal man or something, and that just sits weird with me.
No Blanca in this episode. No Cammy. You should know, by the way, that in this show, Cammy is just super horny for Guile the entire time. Uncomfortably so in a children's cartoon. And as a little teaser, there's going to be some weird horniness in the Savage Dragon episode we talk about next episode.
Great. Someone's finally going to try to fuck the dragon from Shrek for real.
They're going to try to fuck the Warrior King, of course, because
hey,
look at the guy.
You know, good for him. He's really going through some shit right now.
He really is. He's bouncing all over the time and space looking for his big orb.
Anyway, I don't think we've gotten nearly enough leverage about how funny the word orb is.
I just want you to know that every time I typed orb in my notes, I wrote it in all caps.
Yeah, of course.
You have to.
There's no other way to do it. But yeah, we have a lot more orb discussion to go, so...
Michael Dorn and his big orb.
Yeah, see, that's just a fun thing to say.
One episode per episode, right? This is a better I'm not saying this is good. I just want to be clear.
Yeah.
But if I had just like flipped on the TV on like a Saturday morning and this was on, and then it was followed by Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm, and I just caught like a random episode of each show.
Right. I could do this for 20 minutes.
I would be more interested. I would be like, okay, I'm going to check out Street Fighter when it's on again next weekend, because that's how TV works back then, right? This show has better animation. I think it has better writing. I'd argue it has better voice acting. And it's just a lot more fun than Defenders of the Realm.
Some of the voice acting is better.
Sure.
Not all of it, but some of it's got more going on. Yeah, I think this feels like an easier show to just sit down and watch and not feel baffled about.
Yeah. Nothing about this episode felt extremely
To be
bad
clear, there's a
me.
lot to feel baffled about. This show's fucking weird, but it's an
Right.
easier thing to just sit down and have happen for 20 minutes.
So what I'm interested in is when we get to the end of this 4-part series, I have no idea how long we're going to talk about Savage Dragon. Just a heads up to the listeners. The Savage Dragon episode might be 10 minutes long.
Hell yeah, finally. A reprieve from our prison nightmare.
But I do think when we get to the end of this Warrior King Chronicle, I want to rank the episodes.
Well, right now I think this one's at the top.
Sure. So far, 1 out of 1. This is on the top. I have a feeling this is going to be the best one, honestly.
I'm
Like,
open-minded.
You know what, though? I will tell you, when we get to the Mortal Kombat episode, it does revolve around the resurrection of Shang Tsung, and I believe the Warrior King is very, very minimally involved in the show at all, to the point where he may just be a background character, and it may mostly be an episode about the orb.
I can live with that.
So that might end up being the best one out of all of them, because it might have the least amount of Warrior King in it. But we'll see, because I have not watched that one, and I have not watched the Wing Commander episode yet. But, gosh, I think it's time for us to, what are we going to do?
Tear down these big walls.
Yeah, you want to go? You want to
Mr.
go?
Gorbachev,
You want to go out to
Mr.
the?
Bison, tear down that wall.
You want to go out to the desert and Hadoken some walls and kick some trees down?
Fucking hell yeah, brother.
All right. Before we do that, what do you have to plug or promote?
They made another one. It's the other podcast that I do with my friends Mitch and Liam. We just kicked off our 3rd season with the traditional Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie-related episode. We watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, which was new to me. So if you want to hear a discussion about that, they made another on Twitter. They made another one on all your podcast services, and you can find me on Twitter at Mr. Corey Price for, frankly, not a lot, but that's where I am.
F1 race hot takes.
For mostly F1 related tweets and podcast plugs. Mostly
Hell yeah.
that. If you want to read a lot of tweets about Lando Norris, go there.
It took, honestly, when I was seeing those, it took me too long to figure out you were not talking about Lando Calrissian.
Yeah, that's fair, I guess. If you didn't know.
Because you were like, I think one of them was just like Lando exclamation points.
Yeah.
And I was like, did the Lando trailer come out? Did I miss it?
Yeah, no, that's just that man's real last name, which is pretty sick, actually.
That's pretty tight.
And he's not named after Star Wars, which I find fascinating.
Agree to disagree that that's not what he's named after.
I mean, I don't know. Take it up with his parents.
I will. On Twitter, where you can find me at Final Neal, or possibly on Instagram, where you can find me at Final Neal Retro. Lando's parents, I'm coming for you. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at MK Podquest. Subscribe in your favorite podcast apps. So, you know what? Fuck it. Subscribe in all podcast apps. If you listen to podcasts on Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts or Podcast Addict, but you also have a different app on your phone, like Spotify, that you can subscribe to podcasts on, go ahead and subscribe on there too.
If you think you have stuff to say about Savage Dragon, send us a voice message so that episode can be longer than 10 minutes.
Rate us and review us 5 stars. ko-fi.com/mkpodquest if you want to give us money for me to get a new chair, or pay us $1,000 to stop talking about Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm. That's the place to do it. And we'll be back next week to, at the very least, talk about Savage Dragon, episode 21, Endgame, the second part of the 4-part Warrior King Chronicle.
Maybe they used the term endgame a little bit too soon.
There's no endgame in this. I'm sorry, there isn't. I watched the episode. I have no idea what that.
Let's have an
title could be.
endgame of this episode, and we can address it later.
Just a reminder: if you want to watch Savage Dragon, that show is streaming on the Roku channel and on Peacock Premium in the U.S. I don't know about other places. I will say there is a website out there called archive.org where you can find all of these things.
It's not really that, I guess.
No.
It's not really that.
Anyway.
It was funny to say, but it's not really that.
Yeah. It was funny. It was very funny.
Anyway, bye everybody.